Welcome to a new e-learning paradigm, a plusmap.ai.
Today, we're taking a look at a really crucial area of economics, imperfect competition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's key.
This stuff is just vital for understanding how, most real-world markets actually operate, and super important if you're getting ready for your AP economics exam.
Definitely.
So our mission today is basically to dive into our source material and pull out the most important bits about two market structures, monopolistic competition and oligopoly.
Right.
We're going to try and make these sometimes tricky topics really clear, engaging, and directly relevant to what you might see.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is how these structures sort of bridge the gap, between perfect competition on one side and pure monopoly on the other.
Exactly.
Understanding the details, the nuances of monopolistic competition and oligopoly. It's really key to seeing the bigger picture of how economies actually work, how firms behave, set prices, compete day to day.
That's a great way to put it. So, okay, let's jump right into our first big topic then, monopolistic competition. The basic idea feels pretty intuitive, right? You've got lots of sellers, but each one's got a product that's just a little different, a bit unique.
Precisely. And for understanding this, especially for your exam, it's really crucial to nail the key market structure features.
Okay.
So first, like you said, many sellers. Think about maybe all different coffee shops or maybe pizza places in a town, lots of them competing, but no single one totally runs the show.
Right, lots of choices.
Second, and this is super important, product differentiation. This is the core idea, really. Each firm tries to make its product stand out.
How so? Like branding?
Yeah, branding, quality, design, service. Think shampoos, clothing brands. They all basically do the same job, but you prefer one over the other.
Right.
They're not identical, but they're not completely unique either. They're carving out their little niche.
Makes sense.
Third, free entry and exit. This is a big one. It means new businesses can jump in pretty easily if they spot a chance to make money, and firms that aren't doing well can get out without huge hurdles. This keeps things dynamic, especially long-term.
Okay.
And because of that differentiation we just talked about, firms have some price control. They're not just taking whatever price the market sets, like in perfect competition. They have their own little group of loyal customers, maybe. So their demand curve slopes downwards, gives them a little wiggle room on price, which leads to tons of non-price competition. This is huge. Firms battle it out using advertising, branding, customer service, maybe fancy packaging. Not just dropping the price.
Right.
Think about smartphones. It's rarely just a price tag.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's the camera, the apps, the cool factor.
Exactly. And finally, a really important point for the long haul. Long run, zero economic profit.
Zero profit, even for a successful brand. That seems counterintuitive.
It does, right. But think about it. That free entry. If a coffee shop is making loads of economic profit, what happens?
Other people see that and open their own coffee shops nearby.
Precisely. So new firms enter. Competition heats up for each existing firm. Their individual demand curve shifts left.
Until the extra profit is gone.
Exactly. Until price just equals average total cost. They're covering all their costs, including opportunity costs, but there's no extra economic profit left. So some price power short term, but competition erodes it long term.
Okay, so the branding gives them an edge, but that free entry means it's a constant battle. So how does that play out? Like the difference between making money now versus down the road?
Yeah, that short run versus long run distinction is absolutely something you might see pop up on test day. You got to know this.
Okay.
In the short run, a firm in monopolistic competition kind of acts like a mini monopoly. It finds where its marginal revenue equals marginal cost to decide quantity.
MR equals MC.
Right. And then it uses its downward sloping demand curve to set a price above that marginal cost. In the short run, yeah, they can definitely make economic profits. Or they could be making losses too.
Okay, so profits or losses possible short term, but long term.
Long run, things settle down. It starts to look a bit more like perfect competition in terms of profit. If there were profits, new firms enter, like we said. If there were losses, some firms might leave. Either way, the market adjusts until firms end up making zero economic profit. P equals ATC.
That entry and exit thing really feels like the market correcting itself. Does it always work out neatly? Say a firm starts off losing money, how does the graph show it getting back to zero profit?
That's a great question. Let's walk through the graphs. So scenario one, Firm starts with an economic loss.
Okay.
In the short-run graph, you'd see the price is below the average total cost curve at the quantity they're producing. There's a rectangle showing the loss.
Right. They're losing money on each unit.
Exactly. So what happens? Well, if things don't improve, some firms like this might just exit the market, pack up and leave.
And when firms leave,
The remaining firms pick up some of those customers.
Oh.
So for the firms that stick around, their individual demand curve and their marginal revenue curve shift to the right. More demand. And this continues until, hopefully for them, they reach a point where the price is exactly equal to the average total cost again. Break even. Zero economic profit.
But wait, are they producing efficiently then? Like at the lowest possible cost?
Good point. No. Even at that long-run zero profit point, they're still producing on the downward sloping part of their ATC curve, not at the very bottom minimum point.
Okay.
So there's still some deadweight loss. It's not productively efficient.
Okay, got it. So what about the opposite? Scenario 2, starting with profit.
Right. So here, initially, the price is above the average total cost.
Yeah.
You see a profit rectangle on the graph.
Easy money for a while?
For a while, yeah. But remember, free entry.
Yeah.
Other entrepreneurs see those profits and think, hey, I want a piece of that. So new firms enter the market.
Increasing competition.
Exactly. Which means the demand curve for our original profitable firms starts shifting to the left. They lose some customers to the newcomers, maybe have to lower their price a bit to compete, sell less quantity.
And that keeps happening
Until their price drops down to equal their average total cost. Same outcome as the first scenario. Zero economic profit in the long run. P equals ATC again.
And still not at minimum ATC, right? Still that inefficiency.
Still not at minimum ATC, still not productively efficient, and still some deadweight loss.
Wow. So the big picture is start with profits or start with losses. The long run in monopolistic competition looks the same. Price equals ATC, zero economic profit, but not perfectly efficient.
You got it. And the reason those demand and MR curves shift is key. Profits attract individual demand shifts left. Losses cause exit main, remaining firms' demand shifts right. You have to think about the individual firm's perspective versus the whole market.
That's a really crucial distinction. Okay, speaking of inefficiencies, there's this other concept, right? Something that really shows how different this is from perfect competition, even when profits are zero.
You must mean excess capacity. And yeah, that's a really critical idea for the AP exam. Definitely know this one.
So what is it exactly?
Okay, so remember how we said in the long run, the firm produces where P equals ATC, but not at the minimum point of ATC? Well, the minimum point of the ATC curve represents the quantity where the firm would be producing at the lowest possible average cost.
Yeah.
That's productive efficiency.
Right.
Excess capacity is the gap between the quantity the firm actually produces, the profit maximizing or zero profit quantity, and the quantity that would minimize its average total cost.
So they could produce more cheaper on average, but they don't. Why not?
Because of their downward sloping demand curve, to sell more, they'd have to lower their price. But they're maximizing profit, or hitting zero profit, at a quantity less than that minimum cost point. They have to balance price and quantity because of product differentiation.
So it's like the cost of having variety. We get different brands of coffee, but the shops aren't running at their absolute peak efficiency.
That's a great way to think about it. It's the trade-off. Consumers get choice and differentiation, but the market doesn't achieve perfect productive efficiency. There's this excess capacity built in. So even with zero economic profit, it's inefficient compared to perfect competition's long-run outcome.
That's a huge point. Perfect competition firms do hit that minimum ATC in the long run.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let's shift gears now to our second structure, oligopoly.
Yeah.
This feels like a totally different ballgame.
Oh, it is. The dynamics change dramatically when you only have a few big players dominating the market.
So what are the key market structure features here?
Okay, first, the number of firms. We're talking just a few. Think like major airlines or smartphone operating systems or car manufacturers. A handful of large firms hold most of the market share.
Okay, just a few big ones.
Second, and this is the absolute defining feature, interdependence. This is the word for oligopoly.
Interdependence, meaning each firm's decisions, price, output, advertising, critically depend on what their rivals are doing or what they expect their rivals to do. If Ford lowers the price of its trucks, GM and Ram have to react.
It's like a chess game.
Exactly. Strategic interdependence.
Yes.
What one does directly impacts the others. Third, high barriers to entry. It's tough for new companies to break into an oligopoly.
Why is that? cost.
Yeah, often huge costs. Building factories, R&D, establishing a brand. Think about trying to start a new major airline, or maybe technology patents, or just sheer brand loyalty built over decades. It keeps potential competitors out.
Okay, makes sense. What about the products?
The product type can vary. Oligopolies can have identical products like, say, the steel industry or aluminum, or they can have highly differentiated products like cars or breakfast cereals.
Gotcha. And prices. You hear about price wars sometimes.
You do, but often you see price rigidity. Prices tend to be sticky or stable. Firms are often hesitant to change prices, especially lowering them, because they fear starting a damaging price war where everyone loses.
So if they don't compete much on price, how do they compete?
Lots of non-price competition.
Yeah.
Just like in monopolistic competition, but maybe even more intense here. Huge advertising budgets, branding, new features, customer service, anything to steal customers without slashing prices.
Okay, so summing up oligopoly. Few powerful firms, constantly watching each other, that interdependence thing, high barriers, keeping others out, prices kind of sticky, and tons of ads and branding.
That's a great summary. And because there are only a few firms, sometimes they might be tempted to cooperate instead of compete.
You mean like collusion?
Exactly. Collusion is when firms secretly get together to fix prices, maybe limit how much they produce, or divide up the market among themselves, act like a monopoly together, basically.
Is that legal?
No, definitely not. It's illegal in the U.S. and most places because it harms consumers. But it can be really hard to prove it's happening.
I bet. So with all this strategic thinking and watching rivals, how do economists actually model this? Are there specific models for oligopoly?
There are. One classic one you might encounter is the kinked demand curve model.
Kinked. What does that explain?
It tries to explain that price rigidity we mentioned. The idea is that a firm believes his rivals will match any price decrease, so they don't lose customers, but they won't match a price increase, hoping to steal customers.
Okay.
This makes the firm's demand curve have a kink at the current price. It's elastic above the kink. Price increase leads to big loss in quantity sold. And inelastic below the kink. Price cut doesn't gain much quantity because rivals follow. This gap in the marginal revenue curve that results can mean that even if costs change a bit, the firm might not change its price or output. Helps explain why prices can be sticky.
Huh. Interesting model. But you said it's all about strategic decisions. That sounds like game theory.
Bingo. Game theory is absolutely essential for understanding oligopoly. This is where it gets really interesting for analyzing those strategic choices, and definitely something you'll see on the AP exam.
Okay, so what is game theory fundamentally?
Well, simply put, it's the study of how decision makers, in our case, firms, make choices when their outcome depends not just on what they do, but also on what others do. That interdependence again.
Makes sense for oligopoly.
Exactly. Now, a key concept within game theory is the dominant strategy.
Dominant strategy.
Yeah, it's a strategy that's the best choice for a firm no matter what the other firm decides to do. It's like, whatever they do, this is my best move.
Does every firm always have one?
No, not always. Yeah. And that's really important to remember. Sometimes a firm's best move depends on the other firm's choice. But if a dominant strategy exists, it simplifies the decision.
Okay. What else?
Another crucial concept is Nash equilibrium, named after John Nash, the mathematician.
Right, from the movie?
Yeah. So a Nash equilibrium is a situation where each player or firm is doing the absolute best they can, given the choices of the other players. The key is that no single player has an incentive to change their strategy unilaterally, meaning on their own.
So everyone's kind of locked in based on what others are doing.
Sort of, yeah. They're in a stable state because, given the rival's choice, they wouldn't be better off switching theirs. And importantly, the Nash equilibrium outcome isn't necessarily the best possible outcome for the group, like what they might get with collusion. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
How do we figure all this out? Is there a tool?
Yes, the main tool we use is a payoff matrix. It's basically a table that shows the outcomes, or payoffs, usually profits, for each firm based on every possible combination of strategies they and their rivals might choose. It's how we find dominant strategies and Nash equilibria.
Okay, I think we need an example. Let's say we have two firms, S-Boss and M-King. They can either advertise or not advertise. And we have a payoff matrix showing their profits.
Perfect. Let's walk through it step by step, just like you might on an exam. Step 1. Look from S-Boss's point of view.
Okay.
Ask, if M-King chooses to advertise, what should S-Boss do? Let's say the matrix shows if M-King advertises, S-Boss gets 8 million profit by advertising too, but only 5 million by not advertising.
So 8 is better than 5. S-Boss should advertise if M-King advertises.
Right. Now, still S-Boss. What if M-King chooses not to advertise? Let's say S-Boss gets 10 million by advertising and only 6 million by not advertising.
Okay, 10 is better than 6, so S-Boss should still advertise even if M-King doesn't.
Exactly. Since S-Boss's best choice is to advertise regardless of what M-King does, advertising is S-Boss's dominant strategy.
Got it. S-Boss always advertises. Step 2. M-King's view.
Okay, now we do the same for M-King. If S-Boss advertises, what should M-King do? Let's say M-King gets 8 by advertising and 4 by not advertising.
8 beats 4. M-King advertises if S-Boss advertises.
Right, and if S-Boss does not advertise, let's say M-King gets 12 by advertising and 6 by not advertising.
12 beats 6. M-King advertises even if S-Boss doesn't.
So what does that tell us about M-King?
Advertising is M-King's dominant strategy too. They should always advertise no matter what S-Boss does.
Perfect. Step 3. Find the Nash equilibrium. Since both firms have a dominant strategy to advertise, where do they end up?
They both advertise, and in our example, that payoff was 8 million profit for each.
That's the Nash equilibrium. Given that S-Boss is advertising, M-King is doing the best it can by advertising 8 versus 4. And given that M-King is advertising, S-Boss is doing the best it can by advertising 8 versus 5. Neither wants to switch on their own.
Okay, that makes sense. But step 4. What about collusion? What if they secretly agreed not to advertise?
Good question. Look at the payoff if they both choose not advertise. In our matrix, maybe that payoff is 6.
Wait, they both get 6 million if they collude not to advertise, but they both get 8 million in the Nash equilibrium, where they do advertise. That seems weird. Why would they advertise if not advertising gives? Oh, wait, I read the numbers wrong in my head from your earlier example. Let's rerun that collusion check. What if the payoff for not advertising was, say, 10?
Okay, let's use 10-10 for the collusion outcome. Both don't advertise.
Yeah.
And stick with 8 for the Nash. Both advertise. So if they could successfully collude not to advertise, they both get 10 million.
Right, 10 is better than 8, so collusion would be better for them together.
Yes, if they could trust each other. But look what happens. Suppose they agree not to advertise, aiming for 10. What's S-Boss thinking? If M-King sticks to the deal and doesn't advertise, I could secretly advertise and get. What was that payoff? Maybe it was 12 million instead of 10.
Oh, so there's a huge incentive to cheat on the agreement.
Exactly. And M-King is thinking the same thing. If they both have a dominant strategy to advertise, leading to 8-8, even though collusion 10-10 looks better, it's unstable because each firm has an individual incentive to cheat and advertise to get an even bigger payoff, assuming the other one sticks to the deal. That's why collusion is often hard to maintain, even if it seems mutually beneficial. The Nash equilibrium, 8 is where they likely end up.
Wow, okay. That payoff matrix makes it really clear. The dominant strategies, the Nash equilibrium, and why collusion is so tricky. That's powerful stuff.
It really is. It shows the tension between individual incentives and group outcomes.
So reflecting back, we've covered a lot. Monopolistic competition with its product differentiation and that idea of excess capacity. Then oligopoly, driven by interdependence, strategic games, and models like game theory to figure it out.
Yeah, key concepts like dominant strategies, Nash equilibrium. They're all tools to understand these complex markets that sit between the textbook extremes.
We saw how they differ from perfect competition and monopoly, especially in long-run efficiency, or lack thereof.
I put together a quick summary of each market structure in Micro. You might want to pause right here and check them out.
This is the last chapter. Check the answers to the practice problems you solved in the video. Got it, everyone. Hope you followed along with today's lecture. Now, let's break down those quiz answers and make sure everything we covered really sticks. You can grab the complete mind map Mythica. It's a killer snapshot of today's lesson, plus a super detailed AP Economics textbook at www.aplusmap.ai. Ready? Let's get into those quiz answers.
We hope you're excited for what's next. For more learning materials, please visit aplusmap.ai.